Hello everyone, my name is Raven. I'm a witch who uses witchcraft to positively affect my life. I am also Wiccan. Wicca, a religion, doesn't go hand in hand with witchcraft necessarily, although they are often lumped together. You don't have to practice a religion to practice witchcraft. I believe that magic or shamanism came before religion. It is based on a person's creating miracles, such as knowing which herbs to use when healing the sick, or turning a rock into iron, or knowing how to grow food. But what exactly is witchcraft? As far as I'm concerned, it's a system of magic. Magic is an ancient practice rooted in rituals, spiritual divinations, and/or cultural lineage. Using magic, a person intends to invoke, manipulate, or otherwise manifest supernatural forces, beings, or entity in or into the natural world. To put that in a shorter sentence, magic refers to the ritualization of one's spiritual intentions. Then there is the question I often get, why didn't I choose a Black-centric magic system like voodoo, Santeria, Macumba, Candomblé, etc.? I wasn't exposed to them. I don't know anything of the culture or the religions associated with those cultures. I was exposed to America and its religions, so I chose the one closest to my heart, and I remain with it. But what made me want to do magic, you want to ask, okay? What made me think that I could do magic? What made me think that if I did a ritual, it would affect the universe? I don't know. I'm unsure. I've thought about this question for a while. I've even Googled it to see what other people may have said. I thought that maybe it would spark a memory or something. I tried to invoke a memory from childhood when I first thought about doing a spell or some such thing. I couldn't recall that either. Maybe all children think that they can do magic, and in some cases it carries over into adulthood. I just don't know. I don't know why I thought I could do it. I just did. But in the spirit of inclusion, what makes a writer think that they could ever write a famous novel, or performers think that they could be a triple threat, or that an actor could be an EGOT? What child ever thought they could become an owner, a CEO, or whatever, of a company like Microsoft, or Facebook, or Apple, okay? Or be an award-winning costume designer, or be a world-renowned painter? These might be unanswerable questions. But let's carry on with magic, okay? For myself, I did a spell about 20 years ago. I was in a situation. I had just opened a new business, an occult bookstore, and I had at the same time just moved into a new neighborhood. I came out one morning. It was cold and crisp, like this time of year, okay? I came out one morning and my car was totally dead. Not only dead, but really dead. It had been in the process of dying for quite a while, but I kept diverting money to other things. It unfortunately wasn't revivable. So I took a taxi to the store, but quickly realized there was no way I could take a taxi to and from work every day. I wasn't making more than the rent and the various bills to keep the place open and maintain my house, you know, keep the lights on. The business was just too new, you know. So I took a taxi home that night, worrying about what I was going to do, rejecting possible solutions such as taking out a bank loan or borrowing from a friend, which I didn't have friends that had that kind of money, but you know, and finding no immediate solution, none. I don't think that my mind was really present when I was rejecting and thinking of things to do about the car. Thoughts like, could I really walk to and from the store? The store was open 6 days a week and had the Pagan way class on Sunday, effectively every day of the year. What about getting a bike? That might hold me over through the spring and summer until I could save enough for a beater car. Thoughts like this circled around in my head. I never stopped to examine each solution in its own right, though, because they were just spinning around in my head. But I had already done years of spell casting. I needed a car. I thought I would just cast a spell and get a car that way. I figured at the same time that there was no way I was going to get a car anytime soon. See what doubt throws into your way, you know? Then somewhere in there I thought, you know, miracles happen quite often. So I formulated a spell very carefully. I wrote down all the parameters of the car I wanted. And when I was happy with it, I copied it into my Book of Shadows. I figured this is magic, so I need to ask for what I really like, would really like, not just what I needed, you know? You know, just put it all in there. So I defined a white Mercedes sedan. I also pictured my dog in the back seat. I had a different dog at that time. I thought that'll be nice if I get that. More doubt, of course. I added the spell to the parameters of reliability, low cost maintenance, low cost insurance, etc. I tried to cover all my bases and make sure I defined exactly what I wanted. The spell had to be carefully crafted with great intention and spot on. I went ahead with the ritual that night. I remember that I slept well through the night on that night of spell casting, and I woke the next morning feeling very refreshed. I even left the house early thinking I just walk to town, it was 4 miles, and take a taxi home to cut the cost in half. So anyway, I came out the door, turned out of the driveway, stepped out onto the sidewalk and looked down the road. There was a public bus passing by. I had never noticed this bus signs, the bus stop sign. In this respect, I got exactly what I asked for with my strong listing of my absolute requirements. Reliable, low cost, no cost maintenance, and no cost insurance, you know? Well, anyway, the day went on. That day, a woman and her son stopped by. They stopped by almost every day. It just did. She said that she had a present for me. It was a small box about 2 by 4 inches, nicely wrapped with a bow. It was close to my birthday, so I thought that was why she brought this to me. She said that she and her son were walking along and they came to a store window and saw the perfect gift for me. She said that she felt compelled to buy it, had it wrapped and brought it directly to me in my store. So with thank yous and embarrassment, I opened the box. Inside was a white Hot Wheels car, a Mercedes sedan, with a tiny dog in the back seat. This was my doubt manifested. It screamed, "It would be nice if I got that." You might say that spell failed, but I feel that I received successfully exactly what I asked for with my spell casting. I mean, I got the bus ride, I got the car, right? Okay, now on to the Book of Shadows. Supposedly, every witch has to hand copy it, having had it passed down to them from a coven of witches. That is, if they want to be considered an authentic witch, you know. But the Book of Shadow becomes personal as spells and prayers and rituals, etc. are added. It takes the form of a journal, which over time changes it from the original so that no 2 books of shadows are ever exactly alike. It is also said that the Gardnerian Book of Shadows is the most authentic book of books because it was supposedly a copy of Gerald Gardner's Book of Shadows. Gerald Gardner, if you don't know, was the founder of Gardnerian Wicca. He was extremely important in bringing Wicca and witchcraft to America. But I don't think that the book that trends on the internet is the Book of Shadows, as it reads too much like a conglomeration of chants and poems and laws and histories and rituals, etc., that was kind of thrown together instead of reading like a journal, which is what it was supposed to be. It was too well organized. I mean, have you seen Michelangelo's journals? His pictures, sketches, notes in the margins, mathematical equations, machines, stuff thrown off the side, etc. If you've ever written a journal, you'll know instantly by looking at that book that everyone is using as a premier book that it isn't a journal, nor is it a book of shadows. When I started with Herman Slater and Eddie Baginski at the Warlock shop in the 1970s, they told me there was no book of shadows. Now, I want you to know that I'm an avid book reader, okay? I had heard about the Book of Shadows somewhere. I thought they were hiding information because I wasn't initiated yet. I can now see what they meant, because if everyone is keeping their own journal, there's no such thing as a formal Book of Shadows. There just isn't. As it would happen, and more or less suddenly, a book turned up. I gladly hand-copied the 100 or so laws and the various poems, etc. There were some spells and rituals, but nothing past the very basic. This was not third-degree work. This was beginner stuff. This was a compilation of laws and seasonal holidays, poems and prayers. This definitely was not Gerald Gardner's secret Book of Shadows, which can now be found for sale online. It was more like a book of lights and prayers and rituals. The 100 or so rules that I copied at some point became the rule of 3. It's a general Wiccan belief that whatever energy you put out into the world, be it positive or negative, will be returned to you 3 times. Additionally, the Wiccan Rede, which is also considered law, and it harm none, do what you will, is considered important. As an aside, let me tell you that although it's considered important, the Book of Shadows is not necessarily law to a witch. The witch may or may not believe in the law of 3, honor and ye harm none, do what you will. A witch can make her own rules, but witchcraft is usually tied to a culture and the culture's rules of conduct. This means that a witch with a particular heritage may have different ways of being ingrained into them from birth, which may not jive with, say, a person who was raised in America or Italy or Africa or Germany. As a result, the witch will have cultural differences and beliefs within their framework of witchcraft. Just like society now, in the far past, magicians or shamans were doctors, nurses, teachers, farmers, etc. Their specialty was expressed in their vocation or their avocation. But from what I understand of history, it would have been very dangerous for a witch to keep a book of shadows or a book of any type, since most people couldn't read, let alone a country witch in the European and American society way back when. Therefore, my conclusion is that there is no real standard Book of Shadows. Make your own. So welcome to my video series on Wicca and witchcraft. I'm Raven Crone, and I am your guide on this journey. Blessed be you and all of your works. So mote it be, so it is.